Hello, and welcome back to Alice Talks Football. And we are live for a Manchester United news, transfer news, and discussion show. We're going to start with the news and everything in Mbeumo Cunha. What's come out on Hojlund, Hojlund's potential exit, Antony's potential exit, a director of football, could he be coming to United, De Ligt injury latest, and then also we will talk about Manchester United Brentford later in the show. Get your live chats in, we'll have a discussion about that as well. But there is a fair bit to talk about because Manchester United are in for Mbeumo, and it's not, what people thought of Cunha, and if you can't get Cunha, we go for Mbeumo. I've always assumed Cunha's the focus. If we can't get him, we'll go for Mbeumo. It is Mbeumo and Cunha. United want both, and that would be insane. That would be brilliant. We're going to talk about that. Juventus, Italian clubs interested in Hojlund. Hojlund could potentially leave. Sort of, initial contact has begun in terms of exit talks. Antony, how much money we're going to get for him. Because the most important thing really for United in terms of what we do this summer is, well, first of all, the most important thing for Manchester United is this summer. This summer is so important. This summer is so key because we know we need new signings if we're going to be good. We know we need to make additions. So we know that this summer is massive for United. But the most important thing is, one, winning Europa League and getting Champions League football. That massively increases our budget. But number two, sales. Antony scores the winning goal today for Real Betis. Antony continuing to do well means our chances of selling him increase and the money we get increase. Obviously, updates on Sancho. He started to do better at Chelsea. Rashford should have done enough at Villa. But if we sell Antony, Rashford, Sancho, we get UCL football for winning the Europa League. We're in a position where we've got a lot more money to spend. Anyway, Manchester United apparently... Oh, breaking news. Breaking news, guys. Breaking news. Wait, someone's... Okay, we're gonna pause. I'm gonna talk about Mbeumo. I'm gonna talk about Cunha. I'm gonna talk about other stories, but we've just got breaking news here, and I'm gonna share it on my screen. We'll talk about Hojlund. This has just come out now. My thing's frozen. This has just come out now, and I might make a video on it later. Look at this. PSG sporting director Luis Campos is in advanced talks to join Manchester United. Yes, this just come out this second. I would have updated the thumbnail and title if I knew. Luis Campos. Okay, I'm gonna get some information on Luis Campos. How good is PSG sporting director Luis Campos, and why is he so highly rated? I know he's done some very good work, but let's see what the internet tells me on Luis Campos here, or ChatGPT. But I actually was going to mention this in my show today because there was this story that came out that PSG sporting director Luis Campos is in advanced talks to join a major European club, but they wouldn't name who the club was. Now, that came out 2 hours ago. But it's just coming out now through a good source of information, hence why people are getting excited that he's now in advanced talks to join Manchester United. So this is what's been said according to AI on Luis Campos, mastermind behind title-winning squads. He was the mastermind behind the AS Monaco 2013 to 2016 period, which saw him recruiting talents like Mbappe, Bernardo Silva, Fabinho, and Thomas Lemar. AS Monaco was apparently constructed the foundation of the 2016-17 Ligue 1 winning team. He was at Lille from 2017 to 2020, and at Lille, Campos replicated his success by assembling a team that secured the 2021 Ligue 1 title. His notable signings included Victor Osimhen, Rafael Leao, and Jonathan Ikone. He is known for being exceptional at talent spotting. He is renowned for identifying undervalued or emerging talents and nurturing them into elite players. His discovery of Kylian Mbappe at Monaco is a testament to his scouting prowess, is what's been said on this guy. So I like the sound of this guy. It's also said that he's very good at terms of, when it comes to recruitment being strategic and making profit. You know, he likes to have a data-driven approach to recruitment. He does a lot of scouting and a lot of player assessments, and his strategy often involves acquiring players at a modest fee and selling them for profits, like Nicolas Pepe, who had a 62 million euro transfer from Lille to Arsenal when he was at Lille. He joined PSG in 2022. Now, all I'm going to say is look at PSG. Look at how PSG in these last 2 years have developed. Look at them. PSG had Neymar, Messi, and Mbappe underperforming. This PSG side doesn't have the stars, doesn't have the big names, but this PSG side is the best PSG side. And he joined PSG 3 years ago, and he initiated the shift from the club going for a bling bling transfer approach to a more sustainable model. And you look at some of the signings: Vitinha, João Neves, William Pacho, Desiree Doué. You know, that's to tell you a little bit about this guy. Again, I will probably do a video on this guy. This is just, again, what's being said from a basic search. Campos' reputation has attracted attention from Premier League clubs, was said by Talk Sports. Desario said despite his strategic vision, his tenure at PSG did face some scrutiny due to their significant investment. And apparently his relationship with Luis Enrique has been strained due to disagreements over transfer targets. But his legacy is defined by his ability to revolutionize club structures through intelligent recruitment and club optimization. So Luis Campos is apparently in advanced talks to be the new Dan Ashworth to come into Manchester United. Luis Campos, who was at Monaco from 2013 to 2016, was the guy that found Kylian Mbappe, had players like Bernardo Silva, Fabinho brought in. Monaco won the league in 2016, then moved to Lille, who won the league 3 years later, bringing in Victor Osimhen. Rafael Leao was two of the players he obviously assembled. Then he's left, and 3 years ago went to PSG. And what I've noticed, and I'm not saying he's going to join Manchester United and we're going to win the league in 2.5, 3 seasons' time, but he joins Monaco in 2013. They win the league in 2016. He joins Lille in 2017. They win the league in 2020. He joins PSG in 2022. Of course, PSG win the league every year, basically, but PSG could win their first Champions League in 2025. There seems to be, with every club he works at, a significant 3-year boost. So if he comes to United, he spends 3 years at United, it could be a great addition. You never know. I want to get through some of the live chats on this as well. Signed Vitinha and a bunch of talents for PSG, and this PSG side's my favourite PSG side. Someone said, "Here we go." Is there? I don't know if there's a "here we go." Let me check. I mean, look at this quickly. Look at this. I don't think there's a "here we go." I can't see a "here we go" in regards to this. But look, this is what I just seen on Twitter, been shared. Monaco brought in Martial, Bernardo Silva, Traore, Fabinho, Lemar, and Mbappe, who were sold for huge profits. Rafael Leao, Victor Osimhen, and Nicolas Pepe at Lille, that were obviously gone for huge profits. I mean, this would be a crazy addition. Sporting Director Take Two people are saying, yeah, you know what? I'll do a video on this tomorrow morning. I'll do some research and I'll do a proper detailed video on this tomorrow morning, because I'm here to talk about Mbeumo and I'm here to talk about other additions. But this would be, just to explain this, to be honest, as I'm scrolling through, this is like signing a Kylian Mbappe. In the sporting director world, Luis Campos is seen as like a Kylian Mbappe. He's seen as the best of the best. And you know how Ineos talk about best in class, this or that? That's how it's described of. Come on, I could spot Mbappe's talent. Jonathan David Cunha, Alex Bino, and Ryan Shirk can build chemistry. I mean, look, if he comes in for the summer, it'd be interesting to see how our targets are. Yeah, I thought there's no point me doing a Google and looking for people's threads on Twitter. We asked ChatGPT just why is he so highly rated, and that was the information that they gave him. But I will do some proper research later. Luis Campos better than Dan Ashworth? I mean, yeah. Dan Ashworth's best known for building structures. Luis Campos is better known for recruitment. He was at Lille. Sporting director signed the likes of Botman, Osimhen, Jonathan David, Renato Sanchez. All good additions. PSG have been working magic. They brought all the players I wanted for us. Desiree Doué, Vitinha, João Neves, what he's done recently. Yeah, have you missed anything? Scroll back. New director of football leads many things, restructuring football philosophy, which could mean things like a new coach, which is true. We could bear that in mind as well. But that would be a very exciting appointment as well. The Mbeumo deal would be absolute nonsense. Ahmed is the first name on the team sheet. I can't stand Bruno in the 8. What happened in 21-22 when Pogba was at 6 and McTominay and Fred? I think Bruno's fine in the 8. I like him there. Ahmed can play right wing back, and so can Mbeumo. Look, PSG haven't got all their signing spot on, of course. Targets ready targets. Even if Campos comes in now, transfer window wouldn't change. True. I think it would be more of a next year January thing going forward, but it would be like a Kylian Mbappe level addition. So we'll keep an eye on that story, but we're going to talk about Mbeumo. We're going to talk about Mbeumo, but we'll keep an eye on that story because it would be a very, very good addition. So let's get back on track. Let's get into the Mbeumo news. Let's get into the Mbeumo stories. But that want to start to, do you know what? Even though my thumbnail and title has nothing to do with it, I feel like there's nothing better than starting a live show and some news stories come out and there's some breaking news to talk about. Because a lot of the time we talk about repetitive news this, repetitive news that, and it gets a bit boring. So it's nice to just be like, wow, big news, breaking news. Look, it's a good journalist that's saying it. It doesn't mean it's going to happen. It doesn't mean he's going to come to United. But this is something to keep an eye on. This is something, in my opinion, that is particularly exciting. So yeah, happy with that. But we've got lots to talk about. So let's go back and talk about Mbeumo. Now, I did a live stream, I'm going to say like 3 days ago, and I said that United should look to sign both Cunha and Mbeumo. And I actually highlighted many reasons why in that live stream, as you may see here, to why we should go for Cunha and Mbeumo. Now, I've always had the feeling that it's if we can't get Cunha, we'll go for Mbeumo, even though they play on different sides. But it's come out from credible journalists that United is set to move for both Cunha and Mbeumo. Here we go. Manchester United are ready to join the race for 60 million rated Bryan Mbeumo. Pardon me. United's interest in Mbeumo is independent of the Cunha deal. Now, 3 months ago, the Mail reported that Cunha, Delap, Mbeumo and David are all targets, and out of all those players, the only one we haven't been credibly linked to is David. I mean, I say there has been credible links saying he's on the list, but not like he's a target. There's targets, and then there's targets. And Delap and Cunha are targets, whereas David is more of a maybe a target. Do you know what I mean? So United ready to join the 60 million race for Mbeumo. Mbeumo and Cunha for £120 million, two proven Premier League goal scorers. Two proven Premier League goal scorers that have lifted their sides up level would be fantastic business. Absolutely fantastic business. I don't think we'd get Mbeumo and Cunha, if I was going to be honest. I'd be surprised if we landed them both, but it would be ridiculous business. Now, what else do we know? Now, first of all, Mbeumo, one of the most creative players in the league. Cunha, clutch goal scorer. And Mbeumo, good goal scorer, 18 goals. But he's top for expected assists. We lack creativity. We lack goals. If you can't get Delap up, Cunha left 10, and Mbeumo right 10, with Ahmad as another option at right 10, Xerxes in the middle. Xerxes, Cunha and Mbeumo works very well. As Xerxes, Cunha and Mbeumo frontline works well, Garnacho can come off the bench with his pace and intensity. You know, Ahmad can play right wing back and rotate with Mbeumo, and Mbeumo can play right wing back. It works well. It's beautiful. And we need attack. We need additions. We sign Cunha and Cunha gets injured. We're back to the same trash attack that isn't good enough. Cunha and Mbeumo, that's two good additions. You know, it would be a good signing. And I think getting Cunha, Delap and Semenyo is better. Mbeumo's better than Semenyo for me. I mean, some people say don't spend 50 million on Mbeumo. I'd spend 50 million on Mbeumo. Their Premier League proven is take them all day instead of coin flipping on a Sunday like Rasmus. For me, what do we used to do under Sir Alex Ferguson? We used to get Premier League players in their prime from mid-table clubs that were proven. That was the Sir Alex Ferguson strategy. We're now the mid-table club. But when we were at the top, we used to go and get clubs best player. We used to go to the mid-table clubs and we'd take their best player because they were proven in the Premier League. You know, you'd go to and get your Michael Carricks. You'd go and get your Berbatovs, your Roy Keane. Rio Ferdinand was more of a prospect. Wayne Rooney was more of a prospect. But you would go, and some of our best signings came from lesser Premier League clubs. And when they're proven in the Premier League, it's a brilliant strategy. It's one of the best strategies you can have, is going for proven Premier League talent. Look at Newcastle United. You know, they've gone and brought in some really good talent. They've gone outside the Premier League, inside the Premier League. They've gone for young players. I think their recruitment has been really impressive. You look at Liverpool. Wijnaldum came from Newcastle. Robertson came from Hull. Van Dijk and Mane came from Southampton. It's a very good strategy, and I think, Cunha and Mbeumo would be part of that strategy. One good season and 4 Premier League proven. I mean, Mbeumo's had 3 good seasons in a row for Brentford. If you've watched Mbeumo, he was, this time last year, I was talking about him very highly. If we sign Mbeumo, don't sign Cunha. If we sign Cunha, don't buy Mbeumo. Ahmad must start at right wing back, and we must play Bruno in the 10. I think Bruno's better in the 8, to be honest. I like Bruno in the 10, but I think because we lack a progressive passer, I prefer him in the 8. If we bring in an Adam Wharton, I prefer Bruno in the 10, but I think I prefer him in the 8. McAllister from Brighton, and he's a world-class player as well. Like, look at Liverpool. They've got McAllister for 35 million from Brighton. They've got, Sadio Mane and Van Dijk from Southampton. They got Wijnaldum from Newcastle, Robertson from Hull. And Liverpool won the league this year. They won the league a few years ago. They've won the Champions League. I think for me, I've always said, Premier League proven. I would get Morgan Rogers if I believed he was attainable, but Villa will want 80 million. It's all NUFC said. The trouble with your club is players only join now for the money, no pride in playing for the club. I think there's still pride in playing for the club because statistically, when you think of following a size, we are the biggest team. But there is always the concern of the money. I think us winning the Europa League and getting Champions League football increases our pool. There are players like Cunha that want to come because he's a fan of Manchester United. But I know your point. It's it's difficult to know people's intentions, particularly in the place that we're in, and the fact that we are a graveyard for many players' careers, that we're not the most attractive club. We managed to bring Lena Yoro in the summer, and that wasn't for the money. That was more for the selling that Ineos knew it's going to be different now, which I don't know if we can do it this summer, but I think, if you bring in Luis Campos, the PSG sporting director, and show what Ineos have been doing and how it's different to the Glazers, maybe it would help attract good players. Ruben Amorim is seen as a good coach, so yeah. Insane Gamer says he feels bad for Xerxes. I like Xerxes. I think he needs time to grow. Did I see the Luis Campos tweet? I did. I literally spoke about it in the first 5 minutes of this live stream. I'll probably do a video on it. If I get time, probably tomorrow because I'm knackered. And I need to do a video for my second channel on the Liverpool, Newcastle, and Tottenham games. I wrote notes on that. I just need to film it, but I forgot to do that earlier. I think people only join United for the money now is just an idiot argument. I don't think any of the last 5 signings have joined for money, no. Like, Man United's an upgrade on Bologna, so Xerxes ticked off. Agate wasn't liked by Luis Enrique, and he was brought in because we needed legs in midfield. Mazraoui came because, again, Bayern were willing to sell him. De Ligt came because of the Ten Hag relationship, like Mazraoui, and Bayern were willing to sell him. That was more the Ten Hag relationship. Which brings you Yoro, which, to be honest, we weren't going to offer him any more money than Real Madrid or Liverpool were. So it came from Rio giving the phone call. We really pushed the Ineos project with Yoro and Dan Ashworth and stuff. And we also said to Yoro, you're young, project youth. So weirdly, I think we actually this summer didn't throw money at players, but in the past we have. With an Mbeumo, because he's going to have Liverpool and Newcastle and other top clubs interested, it's a question of money. I've always said that. With players that we sign in the summer, it's fine. But look at Hojlund. The only way Hojlund comes to Man United is if we offer him the most money. Because if Liverpool and Newcastle and Chelsea and everybody's lining up for Hojlund, he's not going to pick Man United, I think, unless we offer him the most money. That's what I think of. Jonathan Tah is available on a free. Bayern, Real Madrid, Barcelona, and Man United interested. He's not going to come to Man United unless he specifically wants to play in the Premier League, or we're going to offer him the most money. So there's an element of it for sure, but I do think a lot of it is just, I think we do find a way with players. Delap could be off to Chelsea. Yeah, I think if Chelsea get Champions League, he will be. And I think if Delap goes to Chelsea, why don't you go for Mbeumo? I know Mbeumo's not an out-and-out striker, but he can play there. Or maybe you go for Vissa. He's more of a striker. But I think if Delap goes to Chelsea, which I don't think is the end of the world. I think Delap for 30 million is a good deal. I think he's a good player. I think he's an improvement on Hojlund. But Delap has struggled against low blocks. He's more of a transitional striker. We're a bigger side, even though we don't play like one. We will come across against low blocks. He's very left-sided. There's weaknesses in Delap's game and his heading, but I do like Liam Delap. But I think you would, if you can't get to that, you just think Cunha and Mbeumo. 2 Premier League proven players coming in attack. That's what United want. 2 PL players coming in. David said, I would rather than Mbeumo money goes towards making sure we get the right 9. I mean, for me, it's Cunha and a number 9. But if you can't get to that and you can't get Gyökeres, I would rather let you go on Mbeumo than Etike, because I think Etike is too much of a risk. And I don't think we're in a position where we can take risks. But Cunha has 15 goals and 6 assists in 28 games, which is a better non-penalty XG than, Salah, Vinicius, Rafinha this season, by the way. And Mbeumo has 18 goals and 6 assists in 33 games, so two players with proven Premier League output. These two players have got 45 goal contributions this season. For example, United have only scored 39 league goals. We've now got 42 because I wrote this before the Brentford game. So Cunha and Mbeumo combined have contributed to more goals than Manchester United this season, whole of Man United. They both thrive in three at the back systems. They've both played in three at the back systems. Cunha suits the left 10 role, but he also can play striker. And Mbeumo could play striker, but he suits the right 10 role, but he also has played right wing back. He can rotate with Ahmad. United in the last few games have had higher XG. We were better than Manchester City. I think we were better than Nottingham Forest. We were most definitely better than Wolves. On another day, we win those 3 games and we have 7 more points in the league. And when you have Cunha and Mbeumo on the pitch, they would convert those chances that maybe we didn't convert, and we maybe score them. Both are in their prime, both are Premier League proven, they're both 25, they're both versatile attackers that suit a free. We still need an out-and-out striker, I completely agree. But Cunha and Mbeumo for 120 million would be two insane additions at United because they can press, particularly Mbeumo. Cunha's not so much of a pressing player. They can carry the ball, which is what Ruben Amorim wants in his 10s. They're in their prime, they're proven at scoring goals, they suit the three at the back system. Clinical, creative. That's what we need, and that's what I like. Would you get Mbeumo or Cherki? Mbeumo over Cherki? Because you've got to think, Xerxes, Cunha, Cherki, there's a lack of work rate there. And that's not saying it's a bad thing, but there is a little bit of a lack of, I think, work rate, whereas Mbeumo is more of a pressing monster. You look at how much Brentford run. We were beating the teams you've just mentioned, and we are going to half-ass because we couldn't waste energy and full risk playing full team. I think what you're trying to say is a lot of our recent games, we've probably been the better team and could have beaten them had we had something to play for and played our strongest team. I think that's what you mean. Cunha's a done deal, assumedly. That's not even a word. Cunha is essentially a done deal unless we F something up or his agent asks for, or him or his agent asks for a ridiculous clause. But Cunha's expected to be done, yes. Yeah, I like Mbeumo. Cunha's an excellent presser. I mean, he's decent. He's not known for it, but he will do what you want. Like, he's a good player. He's not like a Mason Mount run, but he's a good player for sure. Anyway, let's dive into some stories. I can't talk. Let's dive into some stories on Hojlund to Juventus then, because a few interesting updates are coming out here on Hojlund potentially going to Juventus. So, there's actually been some talks held. Juventus have now made initial contact for Rasmus Hojlund. They have taken the first concrete steps to sign him. First of all, Rasmus Hojlund. Some people inside Manchester United believe that Rasmus Hojlund has potential and is the profile and is the player to be Ruben Amorim's striker in the future. And with some goals, with some confidence, with the team developed, with us creating more chances, Hojlund can be that guy. Other people, particularly more Ruben Amorim and his coaches, apparently are less convinced by Rasmus Hojlund and open to selling him. Rasmus Hojlund's book value is still £38 million, so Manchester United will not sell him for under £40 million because they do not want to make a loss. The problem is with his form, it's unlikely we're going to get more than £40 million, and I think United, to even consider Hojlund, reportedly would want £50 million, which is very unlikely, which leaves the options for Hojlund of next season we've got to hope he's good, or we loan him out. Now, Hojlund's agent has been spotted in and around Carrington. Some reports say Hojlund wants to stay. Other reports say Hojlund's open to leaving and thinks it'd be better for his career. Conflicting reports. We don't know what's true. Let's dive into more on Hojlund. David Ornstein, very reliable journalist, said Hojlund leaving United this summer is plausible. Fabrizio Romano, another reliable journalist, said Hojlund would love to stay at United and compete for his spot, but if the club sign a new striker, it could be a possibility for him to leave. His future is not decided yet, but Napoli and Juventus are tracking him. So Fabrizio Romano has further confirmed Napoli and Juventus are both interested in Hojlund. What I think Fabrizio Romano is saying is Hojlund would love to make it work at United. Hojlund is a Manchester United fan. He wants to work. He wants to turn his career around at United. He wants to be a success. But if he sees a new striker come in and he sees there's going to be competition for minutes and he might not get those minutes, or he feels that he's not going to play a lot, he's going to look elsewhere. He's got to look out for his career. He's a young player. His agent will be having talks and discussions with clubs. He'll want to see what the plans are in the summer, who United bring in, and how many minutes Ruben Amorim is going to give him and how much trust. Now, as I said, there are people in United that really believe Hojlund can be that guy. They've looked at the data, they've looked at the stats, and they believe that he's a victim of a poor environment, a lack of service. He could improve, he could become a Gyökeres. They believe that Amram could do that. There's other people that are not convinced by Hojlund and think, let's move on. Now, for me, the best thing you can do is bring in 2 experienced Premier League proven forwards this summer, see what comes in for Hojlund, maybe give him a loan, help him get his confidence up. For me, if you bring in a striker, Xerxes can be back up. Hojlund, I still think could be a good player, but maybe a loan where he gets goals, he gets his confidence up, could be better for Hojlund. For me, if I had to sell one of Hojlund or Garnacho, I'd sell Hojlund. I would. We have been linked to Sesko, but I do think he's a bit overrated. 100% agree. I like him, but I do think he's a bit overrated. I think he's got limitations, and I think fans will get frustrated with him. Yeah. You're too excited about Luis Campos, big, deep, long breast. We've got too much to say, and I don't want this stream to be much longer than half an hour. So yeah. Mbeumo over Cherki any day. A few people saying Cherki, but Mbeumo any day. We must not sign Sesko, Etike, Delap. Delap is the least risky out of those. Sesko and Etike probably have higher ceilings, but it's the Premier League-ness. For me, yeah. I wouldn't go. I wouldn't go for Sesko or Etike unless if you can get Sesko for a good price, I would. If you get Etike for a good price, you could. If you can get Sesko and Etike for £40 million, I'd do it. But because they're going for 60, 70 million this summer, I wouldn't go near. Could you swap Rashford for Watkins potentially? But Watkins is a bit wasteful. I will tell you that, by the way. But he would bring experience, I guess. But I do think there'll be a lot of fans that won't like Watkins, to be totally honest. Let's continue into more news. But I think for me, Rashford, Sancho, Antony is what United are looking to do. Offload them, boom. Malacia, offload, boom. Casemiro's one to watch. Hojlund's one to watch. Anana's one to watch. And Garnacho is probably one to watch this summer. Now, we spoke about this at the start of my live stream, but breaking news has come out. Obviously, PSG sporting director Luis Campos is in advanced talks with a major European club. And some people are saying that club is Manchester United. Again, waiting to see what else is said, waiting to see if Romano, Ornstein, or if The Athletic jump on this. But a semi-reliable journalist has said that United could be bringing in a top talent. Again, we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to see how this develops. But it would be an absolutely mad, ridiculous move. You know, leaving PSG at the top of their game to join a 15th place Manchester United, it would be a ridiculous level move. So we'll have to wait and see. Might do a video on that later. But I have a few doubts around how true that is. But it is a good source of information. Yeah. Why are we spending most of the budget on number 10? What's happening with midfield? For me, centre mid's massive. A centre mid that can progress the ball is huge. I agree. For me, bring 2 attacking additions in, 1 10, 1 striker, maybe 2 10s if it's Cunha and Mbeumo because they have the versatility to play centre forward, and then the next position is CM. If I could only bring 4 players in, it would be 3 attackers and a centre mid. But we'd also need a young centre back for depth. We lack depth at the back. Delict is injury prone. We've just been very lucky he didn't get injured this first half of the season. We're seeing it now. Leacher is injury prone. So we need another centre back. But we need attack, and after attack, it's progressive midfielder. You can look at Anana, but apparently Ruben Amorim rates him. If you bring in Mbeumo, Ahmad becomes a wing-back option, so you don't need a wing-back. It's, for me, yeah, it is someone like Angelo Stiller, Mbeumo Cunha, Jonathan David. 5th signing would be a young centre-back. See what happens with sales. What else can we do? But yeah, there was interesting news coming in on Campos, but I'm going to wait. If we get any credible outlets speak about Luis Campos, I will do a further video on that. Anyway, let's continue on. So Antony just scored the winner today for Real Betis versus Espanyol. Also, Real Betis could be playing Chelsea in the Conference League final, which if they win, it would increase Antony's value for sure. Atletico Madrid are one of the clubs that are interested in Antony, and Manchester United's asking price would be 40 to 50 million euros. This has been said by 2 sources now. It was actually reported yesterday that Arsenal have an interest in Antony, but I'm not quite sure if I buy that. But Antony is doing well. He scored a screamer against Fiorentina on Thursday. He scored the winning goal today. Real Betis are desperate to keep him. How well he's doing increases Manchester United's power. Basically, Real Betis want him on loan for another year because they don't want to pay for him, but they want him. Because Antony's doing so well, it's going to attract interest from other clubs, which will put pressure on Real Betis to actually give United the money to do it permanently. I think we'll sell Antony for £25 million and £5 million in add-ons, taking it to £30 million. I think Chelsea will buy Sancho, and I think we will find a £40 million buy for Rashford. if that happens, we're in a good place. If we get Champions League football, we're in a very good place to spend in this summer window, because what we do with sales, what we do with European football is huge. Who's better, Akite or Sesko? I'd edge towards Sesko, but I think Akite's a better, well-rounded player, but I think Sesko's a better goal scorer. I think it depends what you want. Akite's more of a Haaland, Akite's more of an Isak, Sesko's more of a Haaland. We need goals, but maybe Akite. Actually, Akite. I said Etike, people say it's Akite. I say Akite, people say it's Etike. So, sorry if that's wrong. Loan Hojlund to Portugal. Loan him to Italy. He could play in a top 5 league. I still think there's a good player on Hojlund, but I think he would need a loan, like a change of environment for his own good. Last but not least, Matthijs de Ligt was seen leaving the stadium limping, but no crutches. No crutches is normally a good sign. Look, I think he could be out for the rest of the season, but the no crutches bit is definitely a good sign. Anyway, people, I just want to thank everybody for tuning into today's live show. At the beginning of the show, we reacted to the breaking news on Luis Campos. Just to let you know, scroll back for that if you want. We talked about Mbeumo, why that would be insane. Mbeumo and Cunha, it's not separate. United interested in both, bringing both in. I don't know if we get both in. I think it would depend on if we get Delap or not. I think Chelsea are favourites to get Delap, which maybe pushes us towards Mbeumo, but Newcastle wants to watch for Mbeumo, so at Liverpool. And Hojlund exit talks, one to keep an eye on. So yeah, big up everybody for watching today's show. I will be back tomorrow morning, or maybe even late tonight if we do get more news on this Luis Campos story from maybe The Athletic or Fabrizio Romano. I'll do a video on that tonight, but probably tomorrow with more information on United. See you next time. Bye.